What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update. Day 18 in the transfer window. Still no signings, but we do have a new bid for Pedro Porro to talk about. Fabrizio Romano says that Tottenham have made an opening bid for Pedro Porro, including one player plus guaranteed money. Sporting have rejected this formula.
Apparently, I heard that Spurs bid 55 million plus Emerson, and Sporting now we just want 45 million.
Negotiations will continue as Sporting keep asking 45 million euros release clause, and Spurs are insisting with player Kane on the move. So, who do we think the player is? It's got to be Emerson, right?
Surely, you'd think so. It could be someone like Brian Hill, I guess. Someone who's maybe kind of looking for a move in Europe, and maybe European teams could be looking for him as he's suited to those kind of leagues. But I think logically we need to get rid of the right back. Maybe it could be even like we'll give you Spence for on loan for 6 months, maybe.
I think it's got to be Emerson.
Probably, yeah. And yeah, it looks like they're not interested in him. I saw someone describe Pedro Porro as Spain's best right back on Twitter as well today. So, like, he's looking at like he's really one that we should be getting. And as I've said a million times, the outlay, we're not talking so much. Like, come on, Spurs. Like, why is this so difficult to do? What is so difficult about this deal? I don't understand.
It's the same with any transfer, more or less, pretty much. You'll see something happen later on in the window if it is going to happen. I mean, I don't know how much later it can be. It's already the 18th. I mean,
and I guess we spent how much on Spence? 15 million, and how long did that take?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that took ages.
Just every time this happens, it goes on right until the wire, right until the end of the window, and we'll either get him or not get him on the last day.
Yeah, it reminds me of like as well when like Man United were signing Maguire. They spent the whole window just like trying to haggle down a few pounds, a few million here and there, and they end up spending 80 million anyway. Like, so they it's like Spurs just might as well just spend the money and move on, and we can focus on other targets. It's just like a headache we don't need, and there's a position we're desperate for. So
their stance has not changed from before the window. It's not going to change until the end of the window. They got no reason why they need to sell for less than the release clause. So just meet it, guys. Just meet it. Anyway, I've got a nice little joke for you next. So keep out for this one. Build are reporting that Tottenham are surprise contenders to land Josko Gvardiol, but Antonio Conte remains key to any move. So that's joke of the day.
Yeah, it's funny because I was reading this article and it said that Spurs could be prepared to spend 96 million. I'm like, could we? Yeah, could we be prepared to spend? And the funny thing is, didn't we turn down Gvardiol last summer because he was too expensive apparently, and that was at like 70, 80 million or something like that. And now all of a sudden we're prepared to spend 96. Yeah, good one. No chance. I think that, but we could have probably. I think 2 summers ago was probably the time. We could have had him for like 45, something like that. Last summer, you probably could have got him for like big 70 or something. If you were prepared to go that big,
which would have been good signing.
Which would have been a good signing in hindsight, considering his age and quality. Now you're looking. Now he's pushing 90 to 100 million now. So I can't. Spurs will never ever under this ownership spend 100 million on a player. Not a chance. Never.
We had a 72 million bid accepted once with Dybala.
It could be prime Messi with 100 million release clause, and we wouldn't spend it.
Ridiculous. Next up, David Raya. Sam Dean says that the expectation is that David Raya could cost in the region of 15 to 20 million pounds, with Tottenham, Man United and Chelsea all interested. If that's the case, come on, you're talking about a keeper that could be there for the next 10 years. That's our number one.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a price you can't even blink at once. It's one of that's a price you just pay, and like even if he flops, like you can probably get your money back for him for that kind of money as well. So yeah. I think 15 million. I understand why other teams are in for him as well, because he must have a year left of his contract or something. I
think 2.
That's very cheap. So for sure, David Raya for 15 million. Give me some of that.
Yeah, I'm just looking now. One second. My computer's just gone haywire. But 2024, yeah. So he's got another year left.
18 months. Yeah.
Very much. Would want that deal to go through. As I said many a time, I think he should be our number one choice for the goalkeeping position. But let's talk about Harry Kane now, as Matt Law is saying that it's still believed Daniel Levy will demand £100 million for Harry Kane from any Premier League team this year, with the price likely to be lower for overseas clubs interested in him. And those around Harry Kane believe that Champions League qualification or a trophy might tempt Kane into staying at Tottenham. Bayern Munich are keeping a close eye on Harry Kane's situation and are expected to make an offer. I mean, I can't.
The title of the article was "Why Kane Must Leave Spurs." So,
I can't really see like Champions League or even an FA Cup tempting Harry Kane to stay even for next year.
It's difficult. It depends. It depends. It depends how much progression we're making from now to the end of the season. It depends whether he really sees a future here, or if you're going to start another project. If we do bring in, if we win an FA Cup or something, and then bring in a Tuchel. Maybe that, and if he does, and if Man United, the rumours are Man United might not fancy it.
We're going to keep doing this to him. Every manager that comes in is just like, oh, we can hang on for Kane for another year. When Jose comes, yeah, all right, cool. Harry Kane's gonna buy into that. Conte comes, oh, Harry Kane's gonna buy into that. Oh, Tuchel comes, oh, Harry Kane's gonna buy into that. We're just gonna keep rinsing and repeating managers just to keep Harry Kane on board for another year.
But the only difference would be a trophy. If we had a trophy there as well, that would maybe could convince him that you can win trophies here.
I think a trophy. If we win a FA Cup this year, even more so, he would want to leave in the summer because he's won that trophy with Spurs. Now let's go and win bigger things with other clubs.
Potentially, but I don't see him going abroad. I really don't. I don't see him going to Bayern Munich. I think he would rather. I reckon he would, unless if things are really dire at Tottenham, like we're going nowhere, which obviously that is possible right now. But let's say, for argument's sake, that like we progress and we have won an FA Cup, I think he would rather stay here than go to somewhere like Bayern Munich. But even in the case where we have still progressed to one FA Cup, if Man United come strong, I do see a possibility for that. If Man City, for some reason, decide that they want to go for him, I could see a possibility there. But I really don't see someone like Bayern Munich. I don't think he's going to go to Germany. I don't see that happening unless things have completely die here and he's got no options in England.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if it comes down to it, and no bids come in from Premier League clubs, and Bayern are the only offer for him in the summer, and things aren't looking good at Spurs, I think he might consider it,
If he's not signing, and things are really bad at Tottenham, like Conte's gone, and we're doing that whole manager search again, like we did under Nuno, then that will then I can see that happening under that kind of situation. Yeah.
Even if he signs like just a short-term deal at Bayern Munich, like a couple of year deal, he'll have the option, or put in a release clause in his deal where if a team in England are interested again, then he can come back to England. But I can't see him staying at Spurs past this season. I really can't. It's a sad state of affairs.
It's too early to say. I think it's too early to say right now in January. I think there's still a lot to happen between now and January. We're still in the Champions League, FA Cup. There's still a lot of 2 weeks of the window to go. Right now, things seem terrible, but I think it's too early to say. I think once it gets to like April time, something like that, then we'll have a very clear idea, in my opinion. I think when
he's going around the golf course with Gary Neville again.
Yeah, basically. I think right now it's too early to say for sure. I don't think he's made up his mind yet. I don't think anyone has. It's still very much up in the air.
All right, let's move on to the last story of the update about Thomas Tuchel. Dan Kilpatrick says Thomas Tuchel would be open to the Spurs job should the petition become available. Pochettino would also be a contender. Oh, I'm just sick of talking about managers, even though it's only been a couple of days.
I know. I mean, ex-Chelsea managers as well. Probably managers that aren't going to be back sufficiently. I've had enough of it. Obviously, as I said yesterday, I stand by it. Tuchel is a good manager. He'd be a good appointment. He did a good job for me at Dortmund. Got PSG to a Champions League final.
Won a Champions League with Chelsea.
And I honestly don't think he got sacked because performance-related things. I think there was other things that got him the sack really out of Chelsea. So I think he would be a good appointment, and I do think maybe on when they do play well. I remember that Dortmund teams played some really good football. I do think under that Chelsea, the football wasn't particularly amazing, but obviously he did get results. But at Dortmund, he played some really good football. So I do think he could be good. But again, is he a project manager? Is he someone who you want to build with, or is he someone that's going to need ready-made players in certain positions, like the manager we have now? So difficult questions. I just get the feeling like it's in 18 months' time or 2 years' time, you'll be in a similar position.
I'll tell you exactly who he is, though. He's going to go head-to-head with Daniel Levy, and he's going to bring it all out in the press because he's another one that goes head-to-head with owners consistently with every club he's been at. And at Spurs, it will probably be the worst of his career.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that because PSG, I know you get money, but that's one of the most. He said he didn't feel like a manager. He said he felt like a player liaison. He had to deal with all the entourages of all the players and stuff like that. It's a very different kettle of fish. At Spurs, you don't have to deal with that, but what you do have to deal with is a very political board, and you have to deal with different things from the board level. And I reckon that might wind him up a lot as well. And he's known for butting heads with hierarchies of his previous club. So. That never bodes well when you're thinking of a manager who's going to have to collaborate with Daniel Levy.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that it's the wrong appointment for ENIC because it will just go horribly wrong. I think ENIC, what they need to bring in is like a yes man for them, someone like a Pochettino or a young project manager making his name in the game. I think that someone like a Thomas Tuchel, Conte, these kind of managers are just going to expose them over time at the end of the day. So maybe bring in Thomas Tuchel then.
Clearly, I think what happened was when we jumped the gun and got Pochettino out and brought Mourinho in, we just like jumped the gun in terms of how big we thought we were, and we thought we're now ready for a super manager. We're now ready for a manager who can demand everything, and we can give him that. And clearly, we've shown now with 2 super managers, we're just not ready for that. We're clearly not ready for it. So might as well not even bother.
Is Tuchel a super manager?
In this day and age, probably, yeah. I mean, look at he's managed PSG's, Chelsea's won Champions Leagues. You probably can classify him as that.
All right, well, there you have your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comments section below if you have any thoughts regarding any of the news stories we brought to you today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.